a space, but I know that's not going to be the truth. Oh gosh, man, it's like I like doing it. Don't get it fucked up. We get into these discussions. Space, but I know that's not going to be the truth. Ooh, it sounds good. Oh gosh, man, it sounds excellent. I liked it. Yeah, so I personally would love for this to be a quick space, but it never is. Maybe today, maybe I'm gonna try to keep it contained. Um, but me fucking burping all over the place. But yeah. Anyway, welcome to Hump Day Gaming. We're going to be talking about three different topics here: DLC versus the full game, boost to Horizon Zero, Forbidden West, and GT7, and the UE engine. So I want to kind of structure it to be frank. I know the meat and potatoes is probably going to be the DLC versus a full game, so I won't even do that. But here's the thing. Hump Day News usually starts off. I wonder if I can edit this. Maybe. Hump Day News starts off with I probably should edit it, actually. Let me see. I probably should. Magnificent Black. So I bought this headset, yo. This shit popping. This shit is popping, man. Let me see, stick. Oh, that's why I can't do it. It's too many words. That's annoying. I'm done. Anyway, if anyone already knows, if anybody watched this before, basically Hump Day News is all of the news that we've acquired from last Wednesday to this Wednesday. So that's what we're going to be actually talking about today. And usually I will have like a icebreaker type situation, which would be story time. And I wanted to talk about two things. This story time is a little different because it's actually two pieces. Um, this story time is basically going to be talking about the first time I driven a manual vehicle. Uh, and I'll say this until the room kind of fills up. So it all started when I first learned how to drive. Actually, it's weird. I was a late bloomer. Actually, I wasn't a late bloomer. I just didn't have the fucking money to actually drive. So I believe this was back in 2005. So I think I was about 19 years old. And I remember I was such a ride or die. I was such a fucking just going against the grain type of dude. I was always that kind of dude that consistently went against the grain for no reason at all. I just wanted to be different. I couldn't help myself. I somehow believed that I could use a bicycle in place of a vehicle. And I thought that everybody that had vehicles were ridiculous in nature. I'm like, oh, you guys are so fucking lazy. I was always a fit person, but I was like really pissed off about that shit. I was like, look at these lazy niggas. They don't even want to look at them driving. It's just, wow, McDonald's is literally 5 minutes away. You could like walk to that bitch 5 minutes away. It'd probably take longer with the traffic just to walk over to drive over there versus walk. And so I was using public transportation. Uh, But then I met, the public transportation was super unreliable. So I ended up actually getting a car. That was the thing. So I looked for them. I asked a coworker, I said, do you know of any places for me to get a car? And he said, well, I'm selling a car. I was like, oh shit, for real? And he says, yeah, I'm selling the car. It's like, bam. All right, cool, bet. Sold that bitch to me for $500. It was a Pontiac Grand Dam 1992 coupe. I believe it was coupe. I'm sitting there, I love my music. So I'm sitting there walking around. I walked around the car. I said, it's a little bit too flashy. And I don't really like the color red. But if I buy something, I make it my own. I have no choice. I have no choice but to buy that bitch. And use it. So I was like, fine, fuck it. So I go ahead and I'm driving. And one of the life lessons I learned is to actually do your research before you purchase a vehicle. Do your research. I didn't do any research. I thought a car was a car was a car. And what I didn't know is that back in the day, Pontiacs had horrible transmission issues. They had a radiator that cooled the engine and the transmission. Typically, you have separate ones. And this one had a leak. And transmissions are very sensitive, extremely sensitive when it comes to this shit. So I'm like, all right. Somehow there was some sort of leak, some plastic crack within everything. I was like, what the fuck? So turns out that having low transmission fluid really, what's going on, Hector, really fucked up my day. It fucked up the transmission too, because the transmission actually started to okay, let's make sure. The transmission started to slip. That was a bitch and some change, man. I was like, motherfucker. So I knew I had to get rid of the car. I knew my sister had a car that had a failing transmission. It's same symptoms. I was actually going up a slope to get into a gas station. And the car revs, boosh, you know what I mean? So it just completely falls into gear and creates like a fucking, a whole crazy sound and a knock to the engine. And before this situation actually happened, I was let me see here. Somebody made a sound. What's up with this? Who's this? Is this because somebody joined in? What's going on? It's probably because somebody joined in. Okay, cool. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right. I remember going to this place. This is in New Jersey. It's called Atlantic City. It's where it's the city of casino. And my friend took me to Atlantic City casinos and this rave club. So you have the whole shit going on. People were popping pills all over the place. And I'm telling you this because he was trying to get me to buy his vehicle. It was a Honda Civic, 2003, I believe. And he was in the military. He wanted me to drive this vehicle. And I'm like, driving a stick shift is completely shitty, man. It's already automated. Why do you need a stick shift? Gives a fuck. And he gets high off of and alcohol. I didn't drink or anything like that because I was so fucking lame. Uh, and he gets so fucking high. He's like, Josh, I think you're going to need to drive the car. You still remember what I taught you? And I'm like, I'm not driving this fucking car an hour away. I don't know how to drive this shit, let alone drive a regular fucking car. I said, we just going to have to die together or some shit. So he ended up driving it. But he did, before this situation happened, before I'm about to tell you, he did teach me the basics of driving a manual. So fast forward to, it was only a couple of days or maybe a week. Fast forward to when my transmission was slipping in this Pontiac. I had to start searching for another car like ASAP. Like ASAP. I had to start searching for another car. It was totally necessary in order for me to continue to work at my other job. So I had a strict rule against manual vehicles. And for some reason, this Nissan Stanza was the car to get. And I'm just sitting there, I'm looking at this shit, and I'm like, that's just fine. I'll take this car. And I don't know why I wanted this car. It was no reason. It was the boxiest 90-ish car that you could ever see. It was one of those shits that grandma could drive. But it was a manual stick shift. And I don't know why I wasn't influenced by my friend. I wanted the car. So I ended up, I didn't know how to drive the car. I ended up asking the owner, telling the owner that I was interested in the car. And he gave me the keys. He was like, "Here, just try it out." I'm like, well, you know what? Let you try it out. This is your game. This is your car. I want to see how you control the vehicle. And I'm thinking I'm fucking smart as shit. I guarantee you that motherfucker knew that I did not know how to drive a manual car. But he did it anyway. He drove around, zipped and zapped and all over around. I'm like, I'm listening for shit that sounds problematic with the vehicle. And it was sound to me. It looked like it worked. So he says, okay, he pulls the put the car back to where he lives at. He's like, okay, well the car's $500, and I'm like, I'll have that for you by Friday. And he was like, what? And I was like, Friday. And this was a Tuesday, by the way. He was like, I thought you had the money now. And I'm like, no, I don't have the money now. I'll have it on Friday when I get paid. He was like, well, I'm just going to have to look for another person. I was like, well, please, please, please. I need this car, man. I started begging this shit. And he was like, he told me, he was like, all right, you know, black person to black person, I'm trying to help you out. If you don't have this car, because there's other people that hit me up with this. He said, if you don't have this money by Friday, I'm going to have to sell the car. I'm doing this for you because you're black. I'm trying to help out my fellow black people. I was like, thank you. And I put up the fucking fist sign and I left. You know what I'm saying? Got the money on Friday. I was a man of my word. Gave him the money. And I had one fucking problem. How the fuck do I move this car from one apartment complex to the neighboring complex? Because I don't know how to fucking drive a vehicle, the manual vehicle. So I get in there and I was like, what did Mike tell me? How did he tell me to drive this car? I'm burning this clutch all over the fucking place. I finally get it to the neighboring apartment complex. The shit was fucking crisp burning. You smell the clutch. I parked the car in front of in the driveway, not driveway, but the parking space of the apartment where Mike was at. That taught me how to drive the car. And I go up to the car and I couldn't get the key out. And I knock on the door. He's fucking tired as hell. He answers the door with his boxer staggering. He says, what happened? What happened? I was like, Mike, I need your help. He was like, what the fuck, you crashed? I was like, no, I can't get the key out the fucking ignition. He was like, he fucking pushed me by my shoulder. He was like, the fuck, man? I thought you crashed. He said, I guess you do know how to drive a manual. I was like, no, I don't. I don't. So he was like, look, Josh, there's a button right where the key is. Press that button and ejects the key. I was like, oh, snap. He was like, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, man, he goes back in the house. So I was like, okay, it's 9 o'clock and I go to work at 11. I have 2 hours to learn how to drive this shit and get my act together. To get my fucking act together. I was already dressed, so I decided to head out there. And I was like, all I need to do is don't stop. If I could get this fucking murder contraption to my job, which is about 15 minutes away, I have a fighting chance. As soon as I pulled that fucking car out of the fucking apartment complex, there comes the fucking bitch ass red light. Turns on. I said, fuck. Now I gotta do this shit all over again. I don't want it. So, car is red. This is the longest red light I ever dealt with in my life. That shit turned green. And I see the cars in the rear view mirror piling up behind me. So I attempted to engage the clutch. That shit stalled on me. Boosh. And I'm like, fuck, man, they're going to be beeping. They're going to make me nervous. And I turn around, and this white lady had half her body hanging out the car. She just waved me on. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So everybody was like on my side. It was Sesame Street up in this bitch. I was happy. Oh, my God. So I get to work, and I am not one. I'm not one to do overtime. But I did overtime that motherfucking day. Let me see who was there. Who requested it? All right. I did overtime that day. I did it. I was not playing the fuck around. And at least I wanted to do it. And the manager told me, he was like, yo. He was like, I was like, let me get some overtime. He was like, that's uncharacteristic of you, Josh. Why do you want overtime? I was like, I got some things to pay. I just got a new car and everything, I supposed some overtime. He was like, well, we don't have overtime, Josh. I mean, maybe next week. I was like, please, motherfucker, please. I need overtime. I don't want to get in this car. I can't stay in this car. He was like, what the fuck's wrong with the car? I was like, I don't know how to drive a manual. And it was nerve-wracking to drive here, man. I don't want to be in this motherfucking car. I'm scared, nigga. I'm scared. He was like, well, you will have to get over that shit because we'll go overtime. And that was my first story of how I learned how to drive a manual vehicle. What's going on, Black?
Yeah, what's good with you, man? You a
Thomas,
fool, dog.
what you say?
You a fool, nigga.
That shit's a fucking true ass story, man. And I wish you could see the.
That shit sounds scary, nigga.
Oh,
Hey, I got one small story. Though. I know you got no time, nigga.
what you say?
But I did something similar to you, nigga. I didn't know how to drive. I had my learner's permit,
Uh huh.
and I went and bought a like it was the cool car when I was growing up was like if you had like a box Chevy or some shit. So I went and got me a '89 Caprice.
Yep.
Was a box Chevy.
Them old
I was like,
school
damn,
shits.
man. Same thing. I had to pay the nigga overtime and shit. He was like, yeah, it's gonna be $3,000. I was working like a little part-time job and going to school at the same time. When the nigga let me stretch out the payments, I pay him $500 every paycheck. So this nigga dropped me off the car. He's like, man, I didn't think you was gonna make it, man. You know what I'm saying? He thought I was gonna fuck up on the payments and shit. So the homie was like, hey man, drive me to the city. So this is out in San Francisco. So I used to live on an island called Treasure Island. It's like a former army base or some shit.
Right.
But so we drive it. He drove out there. So this nigga's like, oh, all right, man. All right, be easy, man. I appreciate you once we get to San Francisco. I'm like, nigga. I'm like, I don't know how to drive. He's like, what you mean you don't know how to drive? I don't know how to work, man. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker, bro. I'm like, I don't know how to drive, nigga. So I was like, damn. And dog, if you know anything about San Francisco, nigga, this shit got a bunch of one-way streets. None of them shits is numbered. They're all names, and it's a bunch of traffic. My nigga, I had everybody honking at me, bro. Eric, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, oh my god! I was so way somehow I made it back home, nigga. I went over the Bay Bridge, nigga. I was just like, yo, this shit crazy.
Yo, when you first learned how to drive a car, yo,
the worst nerve-wracking shit of my life, my nigga.
yo, when you first learned how to drive a car, yo, you be driving 15 miles an hour, and that shit feel like 90. You be like, this shit moving too fast, man. Slow down. you be 10 miles an hour, please. Oh man, yo, that shit was funny, yo. I was my energy level today is kind of low because I had to stay up and fuck around with nonsense at this job of mine. But the reason why I brought that up is because I'm a real nigga that can tell you embarrassing fucking stories and not have to rely on clout. That was the whole setup of this. And there was a situation that we had earlier. If you are a member of the Roundtable podcast, there's a gentleman that is Asian, and he got into a spout with a black person, and they were going at it personally, DMs and shit like that, back and forth and back. And that black dude called this Asian all sorts of derogatory, whatever the what do you call it, the racial slurs. And so I would say in an immature manner, this Asian guy says the N word with the hard ER. I mean, real hard and repeatedly. And he was unapologetic about this bitch. Here's my question. Since he's not white, and I know that two wrongs don't make a right. I know that much. But does the Asian person have a right to feel, that racial feeling that, we get if you're black and if someone calls you a nigger? How does it feel for another race to be called a racial slur? I'm glad you're in here, Black, because like, what's your take on this shit? I know you still are floating around.
I mean, man, people do some weird shit, bro, when they angry. You know what I'm saying? And shit's like tension is going, dog. I would say like if the nigga, if I don't feel like the nigga's like if he's not racist, I believe the niggas making mistakes and forgiving them and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a touchy situation, dog. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the person, of course. But I wouldn't say that just because the nigga was being antagonized, he probably didn't mean what he was saying, but he just wanted to get the other person mad.
Right.
There's always that. You know what I'm saying? but it definitely is. If I feel like the dude is actually capable of being racist, then that makes the N word a little bit more harsh, right?
Right. There's
But
always there's
yeah,
always
so it just
context, and this is why the story time has something to do with moral busybodying. That's the problem. I have a problem with people trying to take the high ground all the fucking time when they really don't feel that way. Could you imagine the shit that we used to say back in middle school, elementary, high school, college years? Imagine if Twitter was existed back then. There's a show. I remember I sent you that show, Black. What was called? What was it called? The Reckless Torellini or whatever the fuck the shit was, with the black dude that had the low cut and the girl put a tampon in the fucking solid. They were saying all. They were saying the LGBT slur. They were saying bitch. They were saying the hard ER. They were saying all sorts of shit. Right? Pussies. Oh, just misogyny all over the place. Go make me a sandwich, bitch. And that was 10 years ago, right? Around 9, 10 years ago. And that's still on YouTube. And imagine if we had a camera for the shit that we said. What's going on, Ken? For the shit that we said when we were younger. Or when we were just society was different. I'll put it that way. So for somebody to say something 3 years ago, so to me it seems weird for somebody to have screenshots that did not pertain to you, and you kept that shit, right? And it wasn't just like you said some stupid shit about Xbox Live or some shit. It was this personal conversation, and you decided to hold that shit for fucking 3 years, waiting for an opportunity to use this fucking screenshot. And then you didn't address that person. I'm gonna call that nigga out. The fucking woolly dude. He could have easily sent him a DM and be like, you saying that I said I called the Roundtable Podcast racist when look what you said, and allowed him on a personal level to address the situation. Oh no. You can't do that. See, you gotta be on a moral high ground. I'm gonna put you on blast and bring a whole bunch of people in this bitch. That's my problem. It was definitely wrong to use nigger in any context, to be honest with you, whether you're black, white, or whatever. It's especially egregious if you're white. But I don't really like the word anyway. But I also am a proponent of freedom of speech. You can't have your cake and eat it in this world. Because if you do try to censor off words, then you create censorship. This is why YouTube doesn't have downvotes anymore. This is why you can't say certain things. Because some brittle bitch somewhere felt some kind of way about something. If you were to directly go after somebody, or if somebody's showing some kind of contradiction, the right moral high ground will be to directly fucking contact them and have a personal conversation instead of putting that shit out on blast. You know, there's that one chick, right? It was a boyfriend and a girlfriend, right? And I guess they were doing some freaky shit. And word got around that she basically sucked dick for $2,000. And so she put out a video stating, "Hey, before my ex boyfriend kind of come out there, right? I'm going to say that, yeah, I did it. Yeah, it was I got $2,000 for it." Now, pause for a second, right? Imagine if somebody clipped this one scene or this one part of this space, and it would sound like I am doing that action. That's why I'm saying when someone clipped this Asian guy from the Roundtable Podcast, right? You didn't have the whole fucking story. That's disingenuous at the highest degree. Especially talk about that shit. Because that guy can get fucking fired. All because you wanted to sit there and be the moral high ground and act like you are benevolent and holier than thou. That's some fuck nigga shit. But going back to that story, right? She set up a recording when she was getting her stuff. And she was like, "That's why I don't like you anyway." It was a personal conversation. "That's why I don't like you anyway. You know what? And that's why you fucking gay. I fucked you with a dildo and you loved it. You nutted everywhere. And then she posts that shit online. Funny as hell as it was, that's some shit that you don't want to do. That's some fucking girl shit. Just to get attention. To me, that is a feminine trait. If you're a man, I'm calling it. It's a feminine trait. People get fired. That's people's livelihood for some fucking Twitter shit to make yourself look better than another person. You're gonna put somebody's business out on blast. I don't agree with that shit. Because if that guy found, if his job finds out without context that he used the RER in a personal conversation, you put it as an actual public conversation, his ass can get fired and you lose all his job because you're missing context. That's fucked up. I'm tired of these moral busybodies. That pisses me the fuck off. I'm telling you, it annoys me. But we're gonna move on to our actual topics. And so I want to actually set up the topics this way. Because we already know that DLC versus full games is going to be the shit. So I actually want to talk about RE5. Everyone's talking about the Unreal Engine 5. And how that is a silver bullet. Pow! For everything. You could use this thing is a miracle engine. You could be a mid developer and it'll make you look like a AAA Sony developer. You know what I'm saying? You know, it makes your assets look crazy. Everything's 4K. And I just was asking the question for the for the UE engine, there has to be, it's always drawbacks to everything. It's always drawbacks. And the claim to fame for the UE engine is actually its ease of use, not necessarily nanite. And the Lumen engine, which is the global illumination, the ray tracing system that they have going on, it's the fact that you don't have to be an elite programmer to make a game. There's so many little helpers, which are also programs, where you could just basically see an interface and click where you want, here, there, everywhere, and you don't need to know shit about programming, to be honest with you. All those little helpers are programs in itself. And if you're running a program, guess what's happening? You are eating into the processing power of that platform. The more helpers you have, the more it eats into that fucking performance. It's kind of like how back in the day, right? If you were in the 90s, before Windows, you had DOS. And DOS was just basically a set of commands to make the computer do what you wanted to do. Kind of like a BIOS. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to run something, you had to say, C:// this, and it'll pull up the thing. Then Windows came along, Microsoft came along and made Windows, which were all these little helper systems. So you could just, instead of you typing in these commands, you could just click the button. So the actual operating system is the blanket over, it's the translator between the computer and the user. And the better the translator, the more expensive that bitch is going to be. That's the downside to UE. From what I understand, especially looking at Digital Foundry, it's very CPU heavy. So I was thinking, why the fuck do you need any other engine? I was thinking some of these Japanese developers, they're not jumping ship that easily either. I get that you have to use it, but damn, you know what I'm saying? So I was just kind of wondering what was the problem. And if you have your own personal engine, you don't need to make it accessible for everybody else. It's only accessible to your team. That's the only people that, I don't need all these helper programs that eat into my processors. I just basically, this is how you use it and then be done with it. Typically, Japanese programs are easy. Are light. They just have the program, just throw polygons and shit on the screen, call it a day. You know what I'm saying? And some other things, some other flourishes. So there's always reasons to make your own engine, which is what I like. We need to have places and developers to have their own engine. You can't have a one size fit all. There's always a downside to things. I just want to get that out. Moving on to the next topic. I am pleased to announce that out of all the adversities that Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo 7 got crazy ass microtransactions that people, moral busybodies, yet again, want to sit there and talk about, oh, Gran Turismo or Polyphony Digital, they're egregious, Sony's egregious for some shit that has always been. The only egregious thing that I can see with Gran Turismo, the fact that this shit needs to stay online. They need to take that shit out. But in terms of the microtransaction, have some fucking self-control. Why don't you do that? The game has always been what it is. But if somebody's can make a little bit of extra money because you're impatient as fuck, then fuck it. But the game itself is not a 1 or a 0. The game itself is a 9. 9.5 even. And I'm glad to see that because the PlayStation 5s, there's more PlayStation 5 in stock. People are purchasing it. It actually catapulted Horizon Forbidden West to like what, fourth place, I believe. And I'm glad that people that have put their life's work, their life energy into a project, they're getting their just desserts instead of just making an old ass fucking engine that barely fucking works, and you don't have to pay actors at all, and you don't even have to pay programmers to make their mouth sync to the words, and everybody just ignore that bitch like they don't see that shit. I'm glad to see that people's work is being is people are paying homage to it. I'm so fucking glad about that shit. I'm glad. But it also brings up another thing, right? It truly seems that people just don't want a PS4 anymore. They're over it. And the same thing that happened with Miles Morales. People do not want the PS4 variants. And that's why God of War Ragnarok is actually the last game that's going to be cross-platform, which is great. Which also allows me to understand this too. Corey Borlaug came out today, 420 no less. If you smoke weed, congratulations. Anyway, he came out and said that he wants to show you so much about this shit, but he can't. And when he gets information, he'll let you know. The second he gets information, he'll let you know. And that lets me know this game's gonna be fucking delayed to next year. We ain't get this game this year. Nah, not at all. Don't like it. Don't want it. You don't want to believe it. Yo, Magnificent. What you gotta say about that?
I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be released this year, bro. It's now. I originally thought that the game was gonna be delayed as well, dog. You remember we was talking about this shit months ago, dog. I was like, that shit 2023 early, nigga. Quarter 1, Q2. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, they haven't really dropped any news about any games that's coming at the end of the year. So it makes me think that they just hold them back because they got a big event coming up. There's E3. They don't participate in E3 anymore, but like they got the E3-ish type news portion of the year. You know what I'm saying? Where they have to put out some information, or they wait for everybody else to drop all their bullshit and then they drop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hopeful, dog. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got really no news about any games that's coming out at the end of the year. So I think that they definitely going to show. They waiting on a God of War reveal, a second reveal, if you would.
Brian, are you there?
He look like he connected now.
Get your shit together. What's going on, Brian?
Guys, why are we listening to Josh? We all know he's a pony. I mean, we know we can't get no biased information from Josh. The man don't even want to wear a shirt.
Why does that bother you so much?
It's
you know what? You want to know what? You want to know what? It's going to be. It's going to get even worse. You know what's going to happen?
No.
Yo, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to go to Florida next month, and I'm going to get the baby oil.
Oh no, not like that, Josh.
Don't make me do it. You better not leave it. Just leave it.
Not like that, Josh. Not like that.
He said, not like this. He's like, that bitch from Matrix. Not like this. Not like this.
No, I just wanted to listen, bro. You know, I had to come in here and mess with you, so.
No, but
I wanted to back to listening because I don't know much about. I'm not a tech dude. I don't know anything about no Unreal Engine. I mean, obviously, I saw it.
Before you go on, though, what did you have to say about the thing before about the moral busybodies that we have so much of on Twitter?
I mean, all right. Can I be honest and brutal?
Mm-hmm.
I think people look, bro. I was part of some people I was thinking about calling my friends, but one dude just went ham on everybody and then went to attack another one of the group members. And then I was like, you know what? Y'all niggas talk too much. And it's just that's that busybody shit. If you look, I get it, Josh. People want to be connected to each other, and but when shit goes bad, man, it goes bad. And but at the same time, we like you said, the dude paid the $2,000 for a blowjob. I ain't mad at that part. I wouldn't do it. And she got paid, so something she probably would have did for free. I
Probably.
mean, so let's just keep it real. But if we, I don't know, man, but people got to stop talking so much and sharing so much.
It really boils down to that. I think there was a space like a couple of weeks ago. Stop sharing shit to people.
You
Stop
you,
that.
you know the dude ever his backlog gaming Everstein when he went to expose Kezia a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard the nonsense. Yeah, yeah.
That okay, first of all, that space was lame as fuck, and she was one of the homies. And but see, here's the thing, my dude. She never came in this community to be anything but a. She's a gamer, but not like us. She just got a PS5 a few weeks ago and just actually played it yesterday. And to expose her for being a fake gamer is like it's ludicrous. We all knew who she was. She's an anime girl. I met her. We met her from Marley, and she's been part of our been rocking with us for like 6 7 months. Y'all have a little falling out now. Y'all want to expose the girl. But I also told you guys stop talking so much. Stop sharing so much. Stop video chatting so goddamn much. You know, and just putting each other out there. And then next thing you know, somebody use it for ammo against you. You share an intimate moment or a secret moment with somebody or a personal moment. And next thing you know, they're going to use it for ammo because you guys had a disagreement.
I mean,
You know,
look, if you could take the heat, if you're just that kind of person that just like is just open, all right, fine, so be it. But to me, people would have called themselves masculine. That is such a bitch move. I'm sorry, I can't get down with holding a tweet with fucking a picture, a screenshot for 3 fucking years, and then putting a motherfucker's lifestyle in jeopardy because you wouldn't be right on Twitter. Like, who gives a fuck? That's,
agreed. I 100% agree, man.
that's fucked up. Like everybody's like, he should never use the N word, and like I said before, right? No, that's absolutely right. But like I said
And
before, like people say we all have said some fucked up shit that wasn't recorded on Twitter or any social media.
now, as far as your thing with the round table, I didn't know you were part of the round table. Actually, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've never listened to the round table until the Jaffe interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I ain't gonna lie, it's not my style of podcast. I like a little bit more structure, and plus when you got more than 2 or 3 panel members, shit gets a little chaotic on the podcast. So, and I'm like, I'm on Twitter Spaces. I need a little bit of structure, but that Jaffe thing, and then next day was the Wooly thing, and I don't fucking know what the fuck that had to do with anything. But there was a
it,
tweet going around that somebody called them the NR. I don't fucking know.
it
It's
was
some weird shit
it
popping.
was so I've seen this before with the dude Wooly. He's quick to block people. He's quick to be a moral high ground. I see a lot of niggas from the UK do this shit. You know what I'm saying? They have this moral high ground shit that they feel like they gotta social justice for other people and shit like that. So the reason why it became like a race thing is because sick humor. I guess people will say he act like a nigga basically in front of white people.
Oh,
You
okay.
loud and
I see
belligerent
what
and
you.
shit like that, and I'm like, well, I didn't like the way that he sent that message out. I did. David Jaffe need. Sometimes you need to hear it that way. Sometimes you need to hear it raw. You know what I'm saying? So you will know like where you stand and shit like that. But I wouldn't have delivered the message like that. So Wooly was like, oh, he didn't have to do it like that. But at the same time, David Jaffe was calling people bitches and shit like that, and you ignorant, you don't know shit and all other stuff.
But you know, just
Yeah,
nobody says anything about that part of the interview.
nobody.
They clipped Six part. And look, I'm not defending Sick. I ain't defending no Jaffe. Sick's a grown man. I've seen him in spaces and in on Barry and Persona's podcast and on his podcast. Sick can handle his own damn business. I mean, he ain't shy to say shit. You know what I mean? So and it's
Mm-hmm.
fine, and that's what makes him sick. But guys, if you're gonna cut this down the board, you need to cut it down the board. I've had to call out the bots this week. So now you guys are on the David Jaffe Defense Force. You know what
But
I mean?
that wasn't genuine. That wasn't genuine. They
Of
obviously
course
want.
not.
Yeah, that wasn't genuine. But for the people
And
for
they
the
quick
for
to
the
play Six part, but no
before
one
they
ever
played
played
the other
Jaffe
thing.
part.
No, so that's the thing. The Wooly situation. Everybody knows that he likes PlayStation. He likes PlayStation. All right, cool. But everybody was like, "Why is this? Why does it has to be so horrible when a black person gets belligerent, but you didn't say anything for a white person?" So that's what the Asian dude was saying, the one that said the NE or the ER, the heart ER, and he was like, he Willie insinuated that there was racist people in the Roundtable podcast, and I guess he was building this shit up so he could post this shit, and then the Asian guy was like, "Yo, like you gotta understand." uh you just insinuated everybody was racist, and you shouldn't do that. He was like, "Well, look who's called the pot black or the kettle black." You know what I'm saying? And he started posting this shit in public for everybody to fucking see. That's the fuckery shit that I did not like, because you held onto them fucking screenshots and you knew it was out of context. You knew where that fucking shit came from. You knew that the fucking black dude that he called the hard ER was calling him all sorts of chinks and shit like that, but you didn't want to say nothing about that. It's missing context. And you're not even fucking black for you to be caring about
Like I
it.
said, I'm not familiar. Obviously, now that you said you're a member, obviously I know who you are. Obviously, I've seen Thrash on Twitter clearly, and Sick from other things. I didn't even know Sick was part of the roundtable, to be
In the
honest.
raps, yeah.
But to my knowledge, I thought two of those dudes were white. They sounded white, in my opinion. That was on that podcast, the roundtable. So being racist is weird to have two white dudes on your show. Um, and I could be wrong, but two of those dudes did sound white to me.
Well, sick is, well, I don't know if you know that. Sick is, oh yeah.
No, I think Supernova and one of the other guys that was asking the
Oh
question.
yeah. I think Supernova is
I
definitely
think
white.
two of them were
Yeah,
white,
yeah.
but so that race thing, the round table's racist. Yeah, I don't see how that's possible if you got two white members. That doesn't seem logical in my opinion. But okay, I'll give it to you. Whatever. I mean, but I don't know, man.
It was just
It's Twitter
it's Twitter
bullshit.
bullshit. You want to take the moral high ground, and you're willing to push. Like, what happened if his job saw that shit and he's legit? Like, I
Yeah.
know enough about Royal, the Asian guy, to know that the nigga isn't racist. As a matter of fact, he hangs around more black people consistently than any other race. Number one, that's why he
So
sounds the
so
way.
Royal is the Asian
Royal
dude.
was the Asian dude. He wasn't a part. He wasn't on that podcast with David
Yeah,
Jaffe.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you hear him, you would probably think he's Spanish or black, one of the two, because he hangs out with that culture so much, right? He knows all about it, right? Okay, fine. And he's not native to the U.S. either. He just came, like, he wasn't born here. So, like, people that were born here understand, like, there's a certain, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people from the UK, which is why it pisses me off when they start sniffing around about US incidents and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That irritates me because you don't know what's going on over here. You just know what you see. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want them talking about our experiences in the first place. That's just leave it alone, because you don't. It's more to it than that. Let us deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like and then you did it in a disingenuous way. The dude has a fucking family. So you posting, oh, he said the hard ER without having the whole contest. Was if you have the other guy's side, you should have the other portion. But you decided to keep that one. Right, cool. Because it was juicy that he was fucking Asian and saying the N-word. That's what you wanted to keep. And then what if this shit gets online And then they find this nigga and say that we have to let you go. What about his family and house and shit like that? You ain't thinking about past that fucking point. No, he's not supposed to say. He's not
Absolutely.
supposed to say nigger. But the other guy wasn't supposed to say chinky chinky. You think his experience is devalued because he's not black? They have their own issues. Every race have their own issues, and neither should have said anything. So I would. That's their beef. That's my whole point. That's their beef.
I mean, it's a good point,
That's
man.
all I'm
It
saying.
is a good
Everybody's like,
point.
"Well, what about this?" I feel like everybody should know. Who the fuck are you? I mean, everybody should know.
It's a good point. And just to go to a lighter part, I am back on Horizon Forbidden West
Yes.
since I finished Elden Ring. I played 8 hours today. I'm at work now, so sorry if you hear the
No, it's
music.
cool.
There's
It's cool.
nothing I
It's
can
cool.
do about it until 11. Um, and I played 8 yesterday, and I'm off Thursday and Friday. I'm gonna play my days off. I'm enjoying the game again, man. And obviously, Elden Ring took me like it took a lot of people. But now that that's done, I am back, and dude, the game's fucking fire,
You
man.
know what I think?
It's
You
always
know
been
what I
fire.
think? I rushed the hell out the fucking my first playthrough because I didn't want the shit spoiled. And because I rushed it.
Understandable.
I didn't get to sit let the game stew. You know what I mean? I didn't let the game marinate. You know, and I think that's was a big issue with a lot of people. They just wanted to get through it, and it caused a lot of issues. If you let the game grow on its own and play it the way that like Black he stepped away from it and came back because he was like it's doing a disservice to just try to rush through it. You know what I'm saying? Let me let the game marinate on its own. You know what I'm saying? It has problems. One of his biggest problems is that I don't have the lock on feature or a block or parry for the melee, so the melee feels incomplete. On the harder difficulties, those enemies are very spongy. Not as spongy as they could be, but they're spongy nonetheless. And going from the first game to this game, it's like Aloy was able to use the 3 arrows and then do one shots. You would be able to one shot many fucking machines. You know what I'm saying? Fine or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
well, actually, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I got the legendary Carja Death Seeker bow. I think that's what it's called, and I can one shot smaller machines with the 3 arrow notch, but they got to be stealth shots. And I'm playing on very hard
Yeah.
because I wanted to really, really enjoy this game, and I am really enjoying it, man. Um, Maybe you should do a spoiler cast, man. Once you get a few more panel members who've beaten it,
That's
or
what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting
whoever.
for Black completed it. I'm waiting for you to complete it, and I'm waiting for Dubuk or Ken to complete it, so we can do a full
Well,
on.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing everything: side quests, errands. I got some cool legendary armor from doing scavenger missions.
Yo,
The
those
most
side
legendaries
missions,
I've ever
yo,
had
those
in
side missions, don't they
Horizon.
feel like whole ass fucking? They be extra involved.
Dude, I did one today, and I swore that thing took like 4 hours.
I was like,
And I'm like,
damn, they
holy
got me
fuck,
going across the fucking country, back and forth. Like, you know what I mean? I'm talking, and it will just expand. At first, it became like
did,
a fetch mission. They were like, yo, you go take this to this one person, and he's like, no, it's a little deeper than this. Here's what's really going on. I'm like, damn.
bro? I can't wait to see DLC, and I got a really cool ass weapon today called the Guardian Caster. I'm loving
You know
that
what you
thing,
should
dude.
try? Try the fucking those the fucking shredder things where you throw the fucking you throw the fucking disc.
Yeah, I gotta try. I did not get that
I'm gonna
yet,
tell you
but
why.
I
Like I'm gonna
gotta
tell
get
you
into
how
that.
to really work that weapon. Right? When you throw that fucking disc, you gotta catch it, and you can catch it anyway. When you're rolling, she'll automatically catch it. When you're in the air, she'll automatically catch it. If you catch that shit 3 times in a row, it'll do like massive fucking damage. So like if you're really nice
Now,
with it, oh man, that weapon is nice.
now, is it a skill or is you just can buy that weapon from the
You can
start?
buy the weapon from the start. The skill
Okay,
augments it to be even better, and you got other things that you can do. Like you can forfeit
all right,
the boomerang effect and just throw 3 of them
okay.
motherfuckers. It won't be as strong, but if you need it in a pinch and your enemy is too fast and shit like that, then you could just do that or whatever the case is. There's so many different ways of handling it because the weapons have so many possibilities, I should say. But it's great, man.
I'm off tomorrow, man, and like I said, that's
He
my
gonna
goal
sink
tomorrow
sink
to
his
do
teeth
that.
in it. I want to say one thing. I want to
Yeah,
say
I'm
one
going.
thing, right? I
Oh,
beat
go
I
for it.
beat the game. And you know, like when you beat the game, a game that has a single player, and then they have side quests. It doesn't really. You don't feel like doing a side quest. Like you'd rather do the side quest first, and then beat the game for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
This game doesn't work that way because of the way that the game concluded. It's like I can rest now. I can. I'm not in any type of rush, storyline wise. So you could take the storyline of the side quests in its entirety because they feel like little mini games. There are many DLCs. They're not, you know, little. They're not like little fetch quests. They're like they have their own storyline and stuff like that. So it feels like, what I mean. I'm done, but now I can kind of. It's kind of like how Spider-Man, right? He took care of Thanos, right? And now he still have like little shit to clean up in New York. You know what I'm saying? And little like he's back to Earth. So it feels like that to me. And they have their own little things.
Well, I enjoyed my time in Elden Ring, and I'm really enjoying my time in this game, man. And I'm glad it's doing good, and I'm glad shit GT7 is killing it as well, man. I got that, and I haven't even really. I played it for an hour just because it was bad timing to get it with those three bangers already. But I said, you know what? I'm still get it because I want to open up my gaming palette. And being in Twitter, man, I in part of the gaming community, I met some really cool people I game with, and like I love my PlayStation, but I ain't gonna lie, it is hard making friends on it. I think I've met more friends, quality of friends, on Twitter to game with than on the PSN action on PSN. You know what I mean?
It's funny because that's how Magnificent Black actually we connect that way. We actually from the round table. We both were on a round table. Um, and I think Thrash set it up so every time I streamed, uh, it would give like a notification. I didn't know he did that, but I was streaming on YouTube all the time, and Black saw that shit. He was like, "Oh, aren't you on the round table?" I was like, "Yeah." He was, "You stream this game all the time and stuff like that." And he was like, "I heard you on the round table. You were talking about some tech stuff. Let me ask you a couple questions." And then I was like, "Sure." So I added him on PSN, and we just like had a real rap with technology and shit like that. But I would say I don't know what causes that though. I definitely feel you. I don't get it either. I don't know what causes
Bro,
that
just
buffer.
sometimes it's a great connection, man. Like yo, I'm in Tehran space once a day or twice a day whenever he hosts it. And man, I've met some really cool down to earth people, man. And sometimes like I'll meet somebody on PSN and we'll game, and then I'll see them playing the game like the next day or 2 days later. Be like, yo, you want to play a game? You don't get no response.
I don't know
Invite
what
them
it
to the
is.
party. They don't
I
accept
don't
it.
know what that
I'm
is. You
like,
know what
God
it is? I
damn.
think that the conversation didn't grow to that level. You know what I'm saying? So I
Exactly.
think that if you see somebody on there like back in the PS3 days, it was such a struggle. Like we didn't have cross
Oh,
games. We
oh
didn't
yeah,
have
with
cross
that
game chat.
whack ass party
We didn't
chat.
have we didn't have cross game chat. We look, it was the game's lobby. So you're gonna have to coordinate with everybody that's in there, or you lose. So you had to build a rapport with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And then it happened. But to me, cross game chat kind of killed that type of communication. And I hope Sony has like a something to kind of fix that. You know what I'm saying? So I hope they fix that. But I'm gonna go to the DLC portion of this shit. Well, before I even go into the DLC thing, yes, Forbidden West and GT7. I'm so glad it overcame
Yeah,
all
sorry.
these adversities. I'm so glad. I'm so glad it did. I'm so glad it did because it deserved. Both of those games deserve it.
Yeah, I'm glad they did too, man. I'm glad they got it with the community. It's yeah. Now we need Battlefield to pick up the pieces and try to be a Battlefield the game again.
Did you hear about the leaks? That I don't think it's going to happen, but there was leaks about PlayStation buying from software.
I've been hearing about it the last few. I've been hearing about it the last week and into this week. That's very interesting. I don't know how true it is. I don't think it's. I don't. I
I
don't
don't
know,
think it's
man.
true either. But if it is
It's
true,
a weird one.
if it is true though, what would be interesting? What's going on, Rec? What's going on, Devil Shooter? If it is true, right? I would love for them to collaborate with uh what the fuck is that the people that do the remix? Blue
Blueprint.
Point. I
Blueprint.
would love for them to
Yep.
create the gameplay aspect and then allow Blue Point to create the assets and the engine. Oh man, that would be a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, and if they are, and the rumors are true about a Bloodborne remaster or
If it
whatever,
looks like the
a
Demon Souls,
Bloodborne in
Lord
60,
Jesus. If it looked
because
like
I
that,
want to beat.
mm,
Yeah, I still love Bloodborne. I think it's amazing. Um, I know a lot of us don't want to go play that back in 30, but we ain't got much of a choice if you want to play Bloodborne right now. So it is what it is.
I tried playing it with Ken, man. The do bug that's in here. That shit. I get it because my eyes is adding DLSS to the graphics based on my memory is adding that feature. Like it's cleaning it up. But when a game first starts off, I'm like, that's an ugly ass game. That shit is crunchy looking. It's not ugly as an art style or technology. It's just so low res and no anti-aliasing. It's crunchy. And I'm
Yeah,
like, damn.
I could live with the ugliness as long as they would have, if they could have added a 60 mode. I get why they didn't. The animations are tied to the 30. I get all that, but that game really needs 60.
I think that it. Oh man, like you play fucking Bloodborne. We need to do a fucking spoiler cast for fucking Bloodborne. I think it's about time. Because people seem to.
Or even Demon Souls, because Demon Souls was awesome too. And it seemed like we all forgot about Demon
I
Souls.
didn't forget about it. To me personally, I like the storyline for that gothic fucking cosmic horror that they have. I'm a fanboy for that type of Victorian shit. I think I was a white person in my past life or something. I'm real emo. Like
Um, I don't know if you played Elden Ring, but
I have it.
when
I have
Elden
it.
Ring came out, you have it. Okay, I said this game was about an 8 about a month ago. This before I beat it. I said, with everything I see so far and the technical glitches, I said it's about an 8, 8.5 in my opinion. Mind you, I didn't beat it. Beat it, still standing strong on 8, 8.5. Now that everybody's starting to beat this game, oh, this game wasn't the 97 game of the gen, game of the lifetime, best game I ever played. All that shit is starting to fall out the windows. I think people are starting to see the paint is cracking, and we're starting to see what's underneath of it
It's
now.
not. It's not. It's
It,
not From Software's fault either. It's the fucking journalism.
no, it's not.
It's the journalism.
It's a great game. Do not get me wrong. It is a great fucking game. It is a great Souls game to start off if you're new. But this is not game of the gen, people. I'm sorry.
Yo, so
I
black,
think that's so premature.
black.
It's that golden.
Shut your ass up, yo, yo, black. How you feel about the Demon Souls now that you playing it again?
Man, I gotta. I think Elden Ring, like, because I ain't a Souls dude. So Elden Ring is my first Souls type game. I know it's not like a traditional Souls game, but I played Demon Souls before, and I was like, I felt kind of lost. I didn't know what to fucking do. I was like, bro, it's like I get, what I'm saying, but I was like, you gotta commit to this game. I was like, all right, I'll put it to the side. It's like I'll later for that. I got other games to play. But after playing Elden Ring, I'm kind of used to the setup, what buttons do what, you know what I'm saying? That was an issue for me when it came to Demon Souls. But I learned that through Elden Ring, and now I appreciate the game even more now. Because the graphics are better, the fucking audio is fire as fuck. God damn, that audio good, bro. With that dragon come over your head, bro, pause. With that shit fly over your head, and I was like, oh,
No,
you got the headset
yo,
on?
you know what kind of
It's an amazing game,
yo, you
man.
know what kind of made me think like, damn, this audio is ridiculous. It was that fucking night, that Tower Knight, that
Yeah,
energy that he be
yeah.
shooting or whatever the case is, bro.
The big ass arrows and
It's
stuff.
like you can
Yeah, I think so.
feel the tangibility of the fucking energy. Like you can feel
Yeah.
how concentrated when that shit. I don't know, like the sound is crazy, yo. That shit be like, I'm like, oh shit. And one time I had something creaking in the background. I fucking threw my headset off. I thought it was in my house. I'm sitting there. I was like, sitting there. Yeah. I said, whoa, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? So.
Yeah,
So
the audio is like one of my favorite parts of Demon Souls right now, dog.
it is. It is. It is
Especially
fire.
the graphics.
Let me
Fire
let me
shit.
ask you a question, Larry. What you feel about Horizon and Gran Turismo 7 kind of jumping the charts again?
I think we talked about that shit a little earlier, bro. I was like, you remember how we was like, yo, Miles Morales got legs? You know what I'm saying? Like this
Hey,
motherfucker is
hey,
still
hey,
going
hey!
strong. Hey, but you know what it is, man. Like these motherfuckers still getting their PlayStation 5s, dog. Like if it was me, I wouldn't even buy these games until I got my PlayStation 5. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't get one at lunch, you know what I'm saying? I'd be the same motherfucker. Like, oh no, I'm gonna wait to play that shit on
They
PlayStation
put
5.
so
Why would
much
I do
work.
it
They
now?
put so much work into like the PS4 versions. It's like motherfuckers still ain't buying that shit. You know, they
Yeah,
don't
man,
want
I'm
it. They
good.
don't want it. They ain't want to believe
I'll be good.
it.
Why would I spoil this experience, bro? I can play it on the superior console. Hell no. I can have that shit. I play some third party shit. You know what I'm saying on PlayStation 4. That's it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, yo. But we're gonna go to the last topic here. This is what I want everybody to.
Oh, well, Josh, I'm getting ready to go back to
All right,
work.
man.
I just want to say thanks for the space, and guys, don't forget to watch Halo tomorrow,
Don't do that. Don't you
episode
do that.
5.
Don't.
It's been a wild ride. We only have a few more episodes left.
You might as well just. You might
This
as well
show is
just get the.
complete
You
trash.
might as well just get the box set, and it'll be like it'll be no. Forget the box set. It'll be like the Atari game, the fucking ET game. It's so bad. It's gonna be worth something in the future on how bad
Oh
that shit
man,
is.
this show is complete trash.
I don't hear no Xbox saying nothing. I'm as quiet as kept. But all right, man, you take it easy, man. It's always a pleasure.
All right, bro. I'll see you tomorrow,
All right,
homie.
man.
All right, man.
Later.
Later. DLC versus a full game. Me and Dubug actually had this conversation before, and usually I'll talk to Dubug to actually put my thoughts together. I use you so I can create the structure of this shit, memory structure to sit. So I already have my structure, but I'm actually like I think about how I had that conversation, and I just kind of cut off all the fluff and shit like that. Um, and here's the thing, right? Um, what is DOC, Black?
Well, you know,
What's the meaning of DOC?
it says downloadable content is normally connected to like a base game that you play the premium for. That's what comes to mind when I think about DLC.
So if I see what you guys are saying, gaming night, stop trolling, and Devil Shooter, stop trolling too. Your ass out of here. So my question is this, right? If DLC is defined as downloadable content, isn't any game that you download downloadable content?
That's semantics right there,
Semantics like a motherfucker.
like a motherfucker. I've used it in the past. So I'm guilty of
You know what I'm
it.
saying? I'm just saying is this,
Yeah.
right? So when I downloaded Elden Ring, that's DLC, right? Because it's downloadable content. You know what I'm saying? So I just semantics. This is why you niggas be playing with these words and shit like that, tickling these words and saying that I ain't saying this and that. We all know that is derogatory and at nature. It's derogatory as fuck. You know what I mean?
So Wikipedia's definition is downloadable content is additional content created for an already released video game, distributed through the internet by the game's publisher.
So sequels will be considered downloadable content.
It says additional. So this, if you got standalone products that wouldn't be considered DLC.
Well, thank you for giving me that information. I was wrong. I apologize.
I was
But when I looked up the
wrong.
definition of DOC, that's what I saw. I saw it was downloadable content. But when you get into the thick of it, it'll say it's additional content for an
Mhm.
existing game. Um, we all know that means the question that I had with Debug is this: um, what constitutes as well? I guess that was pretty much answered. If it's not additional content from an existing game, Well, what would a sequel be though? Wouldn't a sequel still constitute as DLC? Because
Nah,
no,
I
because the
don't.
reason why I say this because sequels are typically games that that they didn't have enough time to implement the ideas for the first game.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. What's your favorite? Okay, so by definition, what's your favorite game so far for all time?
In life, nigga, god damn. Well, I'm gonna say Paragon, and you ain't gonna like that. Street Fighter come to mind after
So let
Paragon.
me just. I'm gonna
Fucking,
leave. I'm gonna leave Street Fighter. So
all right.
Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5. They made Street Fighter 5 from ideas of Street Fighter 4, what worked and what didn't work, which would constitute as DLC.
Mm,
Now I'm not arguing. Look. I know
I got you.
that that don't sit well with people. What's your rebuttal to that then?
I think it depends on how drastic and how much money is put into it. You know what I'm
And
saying? In terms of like that probably will be determining what constitutes it as a either a DLC or a sequel.
that's what I'm saying.
If they
So it,
if the
yeah. No,
go
go on.
ahead.
I was going to
Now,
say,
mm-hmm.
Ken actually mentions this. He says the DLC for The Witcher was so large, they're almost, if you count all three, the Blood and Wine and all that other shit, it could
Right.
be literally its own game. And so if we're talking about budgets, uh, where does it end and where does it begin? You know what I'm saying? The sequel. Where does the DLC
Okay.
end and the sequels begin?
So did the base of the game change? You know what I'm saying? I think that's what kind of determines. Like if the game looked wildly different, different mechanics, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. If the base of the game is totally different than what the original product was, I would normally say, hey, that's definitely that's a full fledged out sequel.
Well, Metal Gear Solid
You know
Two,
what I'm
Metal Gear
saying?
Solid Two to Metal Gear Solid Three. You've played both of them before, right? So
Yeah.
what? Metal Gear Solid Three is DLC.
Uh
Huh?
you know what? This is where the gray area come in, right? But you wouldn't how drastically different the games are. You would be like, nah. All right, these games play base at a basic level. They kind of play the same, but the environments are totally different. What you're able to do is totally different. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
what you able to
It's
do? You
like,
still sneak and crawl. It's the same move set.
yeah, but you know, as Metal Gear Solid 3, a Snake Eater fan, your ass know that Metal Gear Solid 3 is wildly different
Oh
from
no
Metal
no
Gear
no!
Solid
I'm
2.
not arguing the fact of what DLC is. We already know DLC is that little extra flavor. You know what I'm saying? Something that
Yeah.
was cut off at the tail end. You know what I'm saying? That they just didn't have enough time to put in there. Not full ass ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
The whole ideology of that particular game. You know, a lot of times when you make games, you may have to cut off some the tail end of it because you just don't have enough time to it, and then you polish the existing thing, and whatever is cut off at like okay. So for Tomb Raider 1, the old Tomb Raiders, from Tomb Raider 1 to Tomb Raider 2, uh, she was no longer in tombs anymore. She had flares, she had more weapons, she had more moves, right? And she had
Mm-hmm.
vehicles to boot, but the control mechanics were exact. It was exactly the same. It still used a grid based platforming system. Now, there were a lot of things that they wanted to put in the first Tomb Raider, such as her ponytail that moves. They couldn't do that. And vehicles, they couldn't do that either. So when they made Tomb Raider 2, obviously it expanded on that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to have the space so we can get this shit out in the air as to what DLC actually is. Because it's supposed to be a continuation or an add-on to an existing game and its systems. When you start changing the systems around, that's when you go into sequel territory. Like if you're just adding a level and you use the same moves, that would constitute as DLC. You know what I'm saying?
I like to add on to some of this shit you're saying too,
Yeah, yeah.
dog. It's a little different for. I hate to be. I hate to be a, you know, say just the
A Jaffe fan.
I don't want to be biased at all, dog, but some of these games are super expensive to make, dog, and without reusing assets, it just don't make no fucking sense.
Like Elden Ring. Elden
So
Ring reused the assets from Demon Soul or from Dark Souls 3 and shit like that.
right, so some of these games are a huge undertaking, dog, and these motherfuckers is like, I'm not throwing away every fucking thing, bro. And you know what I'm saying? It just depends on the amount of content and how much was added. I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not needed. So like in my opinion, God of War 2018, one of the best looking games ever fucking made, right? Why the hell there's games that still haven't caught up to what that game looked like today. So why the hell would I throw away all these fucking assets I invested all this money into? You know what I'm saying? Just to satisfy a couple of fanboys, at the end of the day, dog. That's all it is.
That so much,
You know what
so
I'm
much,
saying?
so much so that fucking Corey had to come out of hiding. This motherfucker is going through a divorce. I know his
Yeah.
wife fucked with a BBC, and that's the end of it, yo.
That's fucked up, bro.
That's why David Jaffe blocked me. I just realized that today too. That motherfucker blocked me. I don't talk to that nigga nor retweet or ever like tag him in anything. Hey, that nigga don't exist to me. But somehow I guess he felt butthurt about some people on the panel of the Round Table podcast that you wanted to block me by extension. I don't even really be saying anything crazy. Why? Because I had like what? I have stupid shit like people falling over or whatever the case is. And if you block me for some sensitive shit like that after you made God of War, you's a bitch. You's a bitch. You're brittle. And you're mad. I can see why you're liberal. You're a liberal person because you weren't liberal when you created that game. But your family situation is making you liberal. You know, he has someone that's going through transition and he has to change his whole mindset because he has a son that is going through a transition. It's fine, whatever the case is. But we all know in your dirty little closet, that's not how you were when you were in your 30s. You were not liberal. And I don't mind you taking liberal sentiments. I don't mind that shit. But the brittle part, it's the brittle part for me. You know what I mean? Is you can't take criticism. It's that part for me. That's real bitchy. You know what I mean? Real girly, real non-masculine, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? And you know you're a disingenuous ass motherfucker for clicks. That's what it is. We get it. But like you can't take the heat, man. Like I didn't even say anything to this motherfucker, yo. I'm just putting it out there. That nigga is blocking people and they don't even know they're blocked because they don't interact with his ass. All because of their viewpoints. I don't even be tweeting like that. The fuck? But you know, maybe he was in one of the spaces. He didn't like what I said. Maybe I said something. I don't know. Regardless of the matter, it is what it is. But when we talk about DOC, the motherfucker already knew about DOC. And all those people talk about, you need to show motherfuckers respect. What is his name? Jeremy. Jeremy he's a military. He was in the military. And if somebody cussed Jeremy out, that's Nelson Gaming, by the way. If somebody cussed Jeremy out, right? The way that they cussed David Jaffe, no one would give a fuck about Jeremy. Even though he protects your stupid ass in the United States, you wouldn't give a fuck. You wouldn't give him the same respect as a person that just fucking created a game. You get it too. You get all the smoke too. If you think that somebody needs to respect you more than military personnel, get your head out your own ass. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, it's just a lot of clout chasing.
It's a lot of dancing for clicks. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it boils down to. And motherfuckers just jumping on his side and stuff like that because of what? Because he created the God of War that people don't really care about. That's what he created. Let's be serious. He created the first one and dipped. People was like, "Oh, that's a good game," but it was Cory Barlog that fucking made people want that shit.
Well, he said that he was a part of the development for God of War 2.
Part of it. He was not the director.
Yeah. I don't know how much a part of it, but
He would
from what he sounded like,
he was up.
he's definitely like
He didn't want to be a part of it because he didn't like games. You know what I'm saying? The take up so much of his time and shit like that, and he wanted to create other things. But I'm like, Sony allows you to create the game that you wanted. Like what? You know what I'm saying? But it was Corey's name on the fucking box. You know what I'm saying? That created God of War 2, which is people still think that's the best one. You know? So I mean, and then he made another one, and then he topped himself when he made God of War fucking 2018. You know what I'm saying? Don't get mad because somebody more creative than you. Yeah, you may have came up with the idea, but we all know you're mad disrespectful when it comes to religion. You wanted your creation to fight Jesus Christ. Like, come on, bro. That's mad disrespectful. Like, stop that. Like, that's what he said. He was going to fight Jesus Christ, and he was going to kill him and become the new God. Like, shut your ass up. Nobody want that shit. Get out of here. So, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, you want to, let's be liberal. Let's be liberal. But I don't like the fact that you have your own religion. I don't like Christianity. But, you know, let's be liberal about everything else. Right? I'm tired of this fucking clout chasing shit, yo. Let's just get the clear the air as to what DLC is. DLC is usually cut content because they ran out of time on the mainline game. Not a full fucking game. It's just like a level or small. There's something a little extra that they could have probably put in if they didn't want to delay the game. You know what I'm saying? It's something like that. A whole game, and we don't even know what the fucking God of War is. It's possible that God of War, I'll talk about that shit on Saturday. I think this God of War is doing something extra. That's what I think. I think this God of War is going to be an open world ass game with towns and shit. I was looking at the fucking preview, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the cutscene, they have like the whole Dorth rim, and motherfuckers they got shit going. I'm like, okay, you know, see, he gonna really be getting that lamb crest for all sorts of people. Excuse me, Kratos, I know you're strong, but can you help me? I need to get some lamb's crest. Lamb's crest, the fucking God of War. I'm like, oh shit, we gonna hear that for real. But I just wanted to get that shit out. I'm glad that you had the space. I was like really struggling to have an idea, yo. I was like, what the fuck do I do now? I mean, I know some people kind of like left and shit like that. People was upset. But I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a night. Let me see here. People are still getting excited for it. So, well, you're playing the base game. Okay. Black should play Bloodborne. He's the best Soul Starter game. He want graphics.
Oh my! I need my fips. Nah, I plan on going back to it, man. Hopefully, I'm trying to hold out. I'm trying my best to hold out until they say something about the new one. But we'll see.
You can be dancing with clicks. All right, guys. Thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. I gotta check out to see how my audio sounds, yo. I think my audio is actually pretty fire right now with this new headset, yo. I'm about to send you the box, show you what that shit look like, yo. That shit is comfortable. It has noise canceling and shit like that. This whole time,
it sounds pretty
huh?
good. It sounds
This
pretty
whole
good.
time I was in the bathroom taking a shit, 2.5 logs of shit. Y'all didn't hear me straining or nothing. I didn't hear